Let's continue discussing the next half of fundamental canons in the Manual of Professional Practice for Civil Engineers. Welcome back to the program. Moving on with Canon 4, which says, civil engineers shall act in professional matters for each employer or client as faithful agents or trustees and shall avoid conflicts of interests. From the statement, what do we actually mean by faithful agents or trustees? Although they may have similar general meaning, we can distinguish one from the other. When we say faithful agent, this is like saying, I hire you to do a job for me and I instruct you how to do the job. You do as I instruct. An agent follows the client's or employer's instructions. How about a faithful trustee? The employer or client can say, I hire you to do a job for me and leave it up to your discretion on how to do that job. I trust you to do the job as though I myself were doing it. In this case, it is up to the engineer to show results to his employer or client. Let's move on to the details of Canon 4. Detail A states, civil engineers shall avoid all known or potential conflicts of interest with their employers or clients and shall promptly inform their employers or clients of any business association, interests, or circumstances which could influence their judgment or the quality of their services. As explained in the definition, conflicts of interest should be avoided, and at any case that one might occur, the engineer shall inform his employer or client. Another detail discusses that in circumstances that there are multiple payments coming from different parties but of the same scope of work, the civil engineer should not accept more than he is due. Detail B states, civil engineers shall not accept compensation from more than one party for services on the same project or for services pertaining to the same project unless the circumstances are fully disclosed to and agreed to by all interested parties. Detail C is all about gratuities. These are forms of appreciation given as a token to the engineer. However, the canon states, civil engineers shall not solicit or accept gratuities, directly or indirectly, from contractors, their agents, or other parties dealing with their clients or employers in connection with work for which they are responsible. Detail D focuses on engineers working with the government. It dictates, civil engineers in public services as members, advisors, or employees of a governmental body or department shall not participate in consideration or actions with respect to services solicited or provided by them or their organization in private or public engineering practices. This is simply described as no engineer working in the government should handle projects which the government awarded to private or public bidders. In case a project seems impossible to construct, Detail E states, civil engineers shall advise their employers or clients when, as a result of their studies, they believe a project will not be successful. Detail F discusses confidentiality. Civil engineers shall not use confidential information coming to them in the course of their assignments as a means of making personal profit if such action is adverse to the interests of their clients, employers, or the public. And the last detail for Canon 4 states, civil engineers shall not accept professional employment outside of their regular work or interests without the knowledge of their employers. As the profession can be versatile, and engineers can have multiple jobs, he still should inform his employer about his interest to grab another employment opportunity. Canon 5 deals with the working etiquette of civil engineers. Civil engineers shall build their professional reputation on the merit of their services and shall not compete unfairly with the others. The first detail also states, civil engineers shall not give, solicit or receive either directly or indirectly any political contribution, gratuity, or unlawful consideration in order to secure work exclusive of securing salaried positions through employment agencies. In Detail B, civil engineers should negotiate contracts for professional services fairly and on the basis of demonstrated competence and qualifications for the type of professional service required. So contracts or work agreements should be awarded fairly to the chosen engineer. The requisition or acceptance of commission will be in a contingent basis as stated in Detail C. Civil engineers may request, propose, or accept professional commissions on a contingent basis only under circumstances in which their professional judgments would not be compromised. Evidence of qualifications should be kept untampered as Detail D expresses. Civil engineers shall not falsify or permit misrepresentation of their academic or professional qualifications or experience. Detail E states, civil engineers shall give proper credit for engineering work to those to whom credit is due and shall recognize the proprietary interests of others. Whenever possible, they shall name the person or persons who may be responsible for designs, inventions, writings, or other accomplishments. Civil engineers should remain modest and give proper credit to everyone involved in a project. The accepted ways to advertise the services of a civil engineer is discussed in Detail F, stating, civil engineers may advertise professional services in a way that does not contain misleading language or is in any other manner derogatory to the dignity of the profession. Examples of permissible advertising are as follows. First, professional cards in recognized dignified publications and listings in rosters or directories published by responsible organizations, provided that the cards or listings are consistent in size and content and are in a section of the publication regularly devoted to such professional cards. Second, brochures which factually describe experience, facilities, personnel, and capacity to render service, providing they are not misleading with respect to the engineer's participation in projects described. Third, display advertising in recognized, dignified business and professional publications, providing it is factual and is not misleading with respect to the engineer's extent of participation in projects described. Fourth, a statement of the engineer's names or the name of the firm and statement of the type of service posted on projects for which they render services. Fifth, preparation or authorization of descriptive articles for the lay or technical press, which are factual and dignified. Such articles shall not imply anything more than direct participation in the project described. And lastly, permission by the engineers for their names to be used in commercial advertisements, such as may be published by contractors, material suppliers, or the others, only by means of a modest, dignified notation acknowledging the engineer's participation in the project described. Such permission shall not include public endorsement or proprietary products. The next detail says, civil engineers shall not maliciously or falsely, directly or indirectly, insure the professional reputation, prospects, practice, or employment of another engineer or indiscriminately criticize another's work. With the autonomy in the workplace, each civil engineer should respect the work of another. The final detail for Canon 5 states, civil engineers shall not use equipment, supplies, laboratory, or office facilities of their employers to carry on outside private practice without the consent of their employers. It is but a professional trait to inform the owner or the employer if one intends to borrow any facility for such activities apart from work. Canon 6 gives details to the third fundamental principle. It states, civil engineers shall act in such a manner as to uphold and enhance the honor, integrity, and dignity of the civil engineering profession. And for its details, Civil engineers shall not knowingly act in a manner which will be derogatory to the honor, integrity, or dignity of the civil engineering profession, or knowingly engage in a business or professional practice of a fraudulent, dishonest, or unethical nature. The last canon discusses the development of the civil engineer. Canon 7 states, civil engineers shall continue their professional development throughout their careers and shall provide opportunities for the professional development of those civil engineers under their supervision. Detail A suggests the personal development of the engineer. Civil engineers should keep current in their specialty fields by engaging in professional practice, participating in continuing education courses, reading in the technical literature, and attending professional meetings and seminars. Detail B states, civil engineers should encourage their engineering employees to become registered at the earliest possible date. Just like when young students are encouraged to take up engineering, civil engineers should also motivate their colleagues or employees to be registered. Furthermore, it is also a duty of the civil engineer to inspire his engineering employees to participate in meetings. Detail C states, civil engineers should encourage engineering employees to attend and present papers at professional and technical society meetings. And lastly, Detail D discusses, civil engineers shall uphold the principle of mutually satisfying relationships between employers and employees with respect to terms of employment including professional grade descriptions, salary ranges, and fringe benefits.